We're going to talk about selling a house in the fourth quarter. Is it a good idea? Should you wait? Can you make the same amount of money? What are the roadblocks that you should be aware of? Our industry, I think, has coached people over the past few decades to not sell in the fourth quarter and wait until spring when more buyers show up. And I'm here to tell you that when I look at our team's performance, we have always had a very strong fourth quarter. Now, I think part of that is due, at least in part, to the fact that a lot of the realtors out there tend to slow down in the fourth quarter. They've worked hard all year. They're going to take some time off. I know a lot of people that basically don't work in December unless they absolutely have to. So on one hand, it's easier to sell real estate when, a portion of the market share of agents out there are hardly working. But are there still buyers out there? Are buyers also being coached to wait until spring to purchase a home? I think the answer is no. You have plenty of people that will move when they find the right property. Think about all of the demand that we have in our market right now. I was sharing some stats last segment about the fact that we still have less than 1 month's supply of inventory. That is going to cause prices to continue to rise, at least in the short term. So you have folks that, let's just split them up into two different categories, people that need to sell and people that want to sell. Well, for the folks that need to sell, there's not going to be a challenge with you selling your property in this market so long as we are diligent, we price it correctly, we market the heck out of it, and we do a good job as a real estate agent. But there are so many agents out there that have decided that because the market is so hot, that you as a homeowner don't need to do anything to your house before putting it on the market. So you're neglecting some of the items that are deferred maintenance because you're just going to pass the buck to the buyer. And on top of that, you're overpricing your property because you think that buyers are out there, because of all the bidding wars and all the stories we hear, are just going to pay you basically what you want. And that you don't really need to market it all that much because the home's going to sell itself. And if you do by chance get into a bidding war, then it just makes the most sense to choose the contract with the highest price. So I want to unwrap this a little bit because, again, we've always had really great success in selling property in the fourth quarter. And so let's think about it for a minute. All these people that want to sell, should they sell now? Should they wait until the spring? Well, I suppose theoretically your home will be worth more money in the spring than it will be right now, all things remaining the same. That's a bit of a gamble, considering the fact that I think our market is overheated. I think we can all kind of agree that the market is overheated right now. The pace at which things are moving, the pace at which prices are increasing is unhealthy. It is not sustainable. At some point in time, that's going to slow down. But when it slows down and when that data becomes public and when that's everything that everyone's talking about, which is that the market's starting to slow down, then it gets into the buyer's head that, okay, now finally I have the opportunity to start negotiating on property again rather than just having to pay what sellers are asking. And so, I want to kind of talk through these four myths of sorts as it relates to selling a property in the later fall and winter months. The first one being you don't need to renovate and that buyers are just going to take basically anything. If people are going to be expected to pay top dollar for your property, then they don't want to have to deal with all of the deferred maintenance that you just decided not to get to. That is going to come out in one of two ways. It's either going to be reflected in the offer that they make, or it's going to show up after the fact once they put your home under contract and then they try to beat you up over the items in the home inspection. That's really a trick that a lot of buyers have been using, not just this year or this time of year, but they've been doing that for years. I mean, we've been in a seller's market for quite a long time now. And so I think buyers are used to that. They expect that the sellers are the ones that kind of hold the majority of the power and that they can't go in and, offer 20% less than fair market value and expect to get their closing costs paid and expect the seller to make all repairs. They are having to play that game of give and take a little bit. But for the sellers out there that say, we don't have to do anything to the house, or for the agents out there that are saying, you know what, you don't have to do anything, we'll just let the buyer deal with that. I would say that in most instances, the agents are telling you that because they just want you to sign on the dotted line so they can get a sign in the yard, so they can get that property on the market, so they can start generating opportunities for themselves with your listing. The unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of real estate agents out there that are starving for listings because in this industry, in the real estate industry, the person that has the most listings wins. They control the market and they control lead flow. And this is part of what I talk about on this program. Is just my knowledge of being a real estate agent and a business owner and a national real estate coach and just all that I do. I want you guys to understand perspective from the industry. I want to peel back that curtain and help you guys understand why agents do what they do. And the reality is, because listings are so hard to come by, coupled with the fact that there has been a massive influx of real estate agents, we've seen about a 20% increase in real estate agents just in the past year. There's a lot of people getting into the business, and in a kind of small town like Charleston, which is getting bigger every day, and for a lot of us, that's not music to our ears. Obviously, I'm in real estate, so I'm kind of right place, right time. But for a lot of folks, they're deciding to move out of Charleston because it's not what they signed up for. It's not the Charleston they remember, 10, 20, 30 years ago. But anyways, the agent that's walking through the property that's like, nope, you're good. Yeah, I think that the price that you suggest is a good price. Let's get it on the market. Let's see what happens. There are a lot of agents out there that just want the listing so that regardless of whether it sells or not, at least they're going to have people call on that property. And if they don't like it, they're going to go and sell them something else. They are using your listing as a tool to get more business. And there are a lot of agents out there that just struggle with telling the truth to people because they don't, either at the point in time that you meet with them or after you sign the agreement for them to represent you and your home doesn't sell. They're scared to death to tell you the truth, because if they tell you the truth, then you might say, well, if we can't get what you told us we could get or what we thought we could get, then we don't want to sell. And they don't want to shoot themselves in the foot and remove a lead source for themselves. So it's really important that you understand that, which is also, you need to make sure that when you're talking to a real estate agent and they give you a number, when they provide you with their opinion of value, that opinion is supported by fact. When I sit down and I go through someone's house and, we kind of go through the process, we talk about selling it, we talk about marketing, condition, expectations, customer service, and pricing. When we get to that pricing conversation, I show them exactly what I see. I show them the real-time data. I don't show up to their house with a report, some preconceived notion of what the home is worth. I want to make sure that I'm walking through the property, that I'm really taking my time to better understand the condition, to better understand what some buyers are going to bring up in the course of negotiations. I'm going to look at individual sales, and I'm going to compare your home to those sales, and I'm going to make adjustments, financial adjustments, based on what your home has or does not have in comparison to those sales. It's what an appraiser does, but agents love to just grab a collection of homes in the neighborhood, provide you with a summary report, and say, yeah, the average price per square foot's, $200 or whatever it is. So it's, we should be priced somewhere around there. And as long as we're in the ballpark, we're good. That's a really good way for you to not sell your home for the most money possible, because it's a lazy approach to valuation. But when we walk through a home and we determine that, there are some things that should be done because they're going to come up either in the inspection or in the form of negative feedback from buyers. And the longer we let those issues remain, the longer our property will stay on the market, and the more a buyer will think to themselves, well, in a market like this, when things are selling almost immediately, why has this one been on the market for 6 weeks or 3 months? that gives them the license then to start to try and cut you down on your price. And quite honestly, for good reason. If your home hasn't sold, you consistently get negative feedback, you choose not to do anything about it, well, guess what? You're overpriced, or you need to do something about that condition. Just because we're in a hot market doesn't mean people are being stupid with their money. They're being kind of stupid sometimes with their money based on how much they're paying. And as a seller, that's really where you want to get the buyer. But you don't create fear of loss, or you don't create urgency by selling something that needs work for more money than what other homes that were in better condition with more upgrades are selling for. The other issue that I have is staging. Staging is it's a funny thing, because if you look at and this is, I was mentioning this last segment, how there's just a lot of misinformation out there. There's an article on realtor.com, and this is what it says, and I'm just going to read this. If your real estate agent has suggested staging, it's because evidence shows staging real estate is usually well worth the effort. On average, staged homes sell 88% faster and for 20% more than non-staged homes, which is nothing to sneeze at. So you mean to tell me that if I live in a home that's $500,000 and I say, you know what, we're going to get rid of our stuff, we're going to put some nicer furniture in here, we're going to stage it up really nicely, that magically that home is now worth $600,000? Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. And by the way, staging is about $500 a room. So on average, you're looking at about $2,000-ish per month on staging. A lot of companies have a 3-month staging contract. So you're out thousands and thousands of dollars. Our workaround to that is virtual staging. If you have a vacant home, if you've moved out, or if you have rooms that don't have furniture, or if the furniture in those rooms is just, not what you want it to be, technology is amazing. You just send in the photo to some of these companies. They remove the old furniture, they put in new furniture, and it looks like a beautifully staged home for like $50. It's awesome. We did this big poll online. It had a lot of traction on it, where we had 4 photos, and they were all very nice homes, very nicely staged. And we asked people to choose which of the 4 they thought was virtually staged. And so we had some people like A and C, A, none of them, blah, blah, blah. Well, the answer, it was a trick question, obviously, because the answer was all of them. They were all virtually staged. And when we announced that, people were like, that's incredible. I had no idea. But the technology out there is fascinating, what they can do with regard to virtual staging. And the great news is, we pay for that, not you. So if you have a home that's vacant, or if you have a home you're just not in love with the decor in some areas, we'll have a professional decorator and designer walk through and tell you what to do, what not to do, what you should do, what you should not do. We'll pay for that initial consultation. And then if you need staging, then we'll just virtually stage at our cost. So if that's something you want to learn more about, and I've got a few more things I want to talk about with regard to selling property in the fourth quarter that I want to get to here, but we're going to take a quick break. But if you want more information on things like this, how we approach this process with the idea in mind of getting you the most money possible for your house and selling it in a less stressful environment. I never say stress-free because it's a myth. There is no such thing as a stress-free sale. We're talking about a big purchase or a big sale, a lot of moving parts, memories, emotions, all of it. It's going to get a little stressful. It's our job to manage that stress through fantastic customer service and through results. So if that's something I can help you with, feel free to call me, 843-400-8009. That's my personal number, 843-400-8009. Or you can just contact us online, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or you can send an email to brian@brianbeattyteam.com. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Visit Brian Beatty's website at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on The Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.